Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Bhaktapur, Nepal, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Nepal. We made it. Our little crew left Govardhan Hill, showed up in Kathmandu, went straight to an ancient UNESCO heritage city called Bhaktapur. Incredible place, gorgeous place, filled with wooden pagoda temples made of stone. Got hit heavy by the earthquake. We were chanting. We had public kirtan. And it was one of those places, Kaustubha, where you do public kirtan, and instead of everyone gawking at you, they're like, oh, wow. Oh, nice. One guy, most of the people couldn't see him, but I could see him from my vantage point. He was like an older guy with a sika, and he was just going, oh.
Who came down
in a good way.
Right next to you.
Then a woman came and sat right between me and Janeshwar and decided to sing the call and response part of it.
She started leading.
Just a lady in a sari. Yeah, it was very sweet.
It was.
Good,
and
good.
They're never, whenever they jump in the kirtan like that, they can never clap their hands on time too. That's what I've noticed. But it was just like a sweet kirtan in a real tourist section. Because it's such a charming city, but it's a Vaishnav charming city. There's all these temples of Vaishnav Bhaktas.
Nice.
And so to go and not just go there to observe. You remember we talked about like going to the Museum of Natural Art and you're in the Southeast Asian and you're like, oh, that's Lord Vishnu and that's Lord Ganesh and that's Kali. And when I bring my children to that, they'd be like, oh my God, it's Vishnu. There's difference when there's devotion to that statue. It's not just like a piece of art. It's an object of your love.
Person.
And so these temples for all of us, we're not just like, oh, what a cool old city. What's next on our heritage city checklist? It was actually, wow, this is Lord Nrsingadev's temple. This is Lord Jagannath's temple. Oh, wow, this is an Orion temple. And so it had much more meaning. So when we went there as tourists, I felt like we were giving back to the city. Because let's face it, a lot of people, when they get in a tradition, myself included, I grew up Catholic, you get in a tradition for generations, and after a while, you don't even know why you're praying these prayers. Sometimes it loses the substance. I know for a Jewish tradition, sometimes some of the students who have Jewish told me that they have this, what's it called on Friday night? Jews? Shabbat. It sometimes becomes a social gathering. And if you're Jewish, you can correct me on the board if I'm way off base. It could be a social gathering and a fun social gathering, but sometimes it loses a little bit of the reason why we're doing it, which is a spiritual focus. And so I felt like where was I going with this?
About how the people here grew up in the culture, but don't.
Yeah, they grew up in the culture, but not as connected to it. And when you see it, something triggers in them. And they're like, oh, and this guy, I just gave him a namaskar. And he was like, oh, my name is Ramdas. I grew up chanting. It was just sweet. And it's nice to give that back to this culture. And it's their own thing. And just the way material culture is, it moves you away from spirit. So it was really sweet. And we're going to be here all day again, and then tomorrow, and then we're leaving for the Trishula sacred river in Nepal.
Wait, I think we're leaving tomorrow. For the
That's-
river.
that's what I said.
Okay.
You're allowed to correct me, but you have to be right.
You're looking very well groomed today, Raghunath.
Thank you. I got the for 700 rupees. I got the best head shave, massage, and beard trick. It was
Are you
incredible,
sure
man.
700 rupees was like the right price?
$5
That sounds like a lot to me. I mean, we used to
for a
get that kind of
massage.
stuff for like
$5
7
for a
rupees.
massage. What do you want to whittle the guy to nothing?
We used to get that for like
Yeah, I'll do it
7
for
rupees.
4 rupees. Nothing else.
700, right? Yeah, I mean, come on. Like in the 90s.
I gave him a 300 rupee tip on top of it.
Wow. Okay.
Is that my chai? Hook me up. Chai, and you know, we have a whole group live here. Some of our favorites. Linda is here. Regina Narayani's here. The Polish princess is here.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a nice day. It's been a beautiful day today. And yeah, we're excited for the Srimad Bhagavatam.
You got Govardhan Lal and Jai Subhadra over there?
Not Govardhan Lal. We got Jai Subhadra in Laghima City.
Oh,
We are old
wow,
friends
okay.
of ours and great devotees. and we're
Govardhan
honored to
Lal
have
didn't
them.
go? Or he's just not in the
Govardhan
room?
Lal sent his better half.
Okay.
He's manning the kids, and Kalpavriksha is manning the kids. They both have a bunch of
okay.
kids. Combined, I think they got 8 kids. So, yeah, the wives are having ladies pilgrimage, trekking. Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
So we're doing lots of kirtan, trekking, whitewater rafting. Nepal's a great place.
All right. We got announcements?
Yes, we have Bhakti Recovery meeting today at 1 and 9:30. Thank you. Zeb from Pittsburgh Yoga Factory is doing a asana class for our Patreon members at 4 p.m. And
Okay.
What?
you can talk about the schedule for the rest of the week.
Oh no. Let's hold that. I have one more announcement. Wisdom of the Sages retreat at Tuscany in the Villa Vrendavan ashram. They have this great ashram. If you haven't heard us talking about it, check it out. There's a few spaces left, and we want to fill this thing. Last year it was incredible. This year we wanted to even be better. We get to sightsee through beautiful Tuscany. That's the beautiful backdrop. And we're doing constant hearing and chanting kirtan all over. It's a wonderful trip. Please come and go to wisdomofthesages.com and check out our website for under the events tab.
You know, I
Yeah,
heard
it's
that Satyananda Maharaj may join us for a couple of days.
And Satyananda Maharaj is going to
really?
join us for the first couple days. It's
Cool.
I know that was
That's
completely a Krishna miracle. We didn't plan it. It just worked out that way.
You know what
He's
I think we ought to
excited.
do?
What?
I think we ought to switch up our schedule so that, you know, because our plan is a day trip to Assisi. Why don't we go with him to Assisi?
Oh, me likey,
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah.
me very likey.
Yeah. Well, I got one announcement to make.
Sure.
Is so I board a red eye tonight for London.
You board a red eye? You are so not a red eye guy, Kaustubha.
Yeah.
I know.
You are one of these guys who likes to leave at appropriate time. You don't like to push it
I'm on a red
to
eye.
crazy. A red eye overnight. Okay, good for you. Welcome to my world.
Okay. And so then, you know, some people have been reaching out to me and I've been very poor in responding, but they're like, oh, you're in London. Can we get together? You know, you doing any programs? I don't think I'm doing any programs. They're whisking me off to like the countryside immediately. And, you know, I'm just going
It's
to,
very elegant. Whisking him off to the countryside.
Away.
they're whisking me off. And I'm going to be like recording some course, you know, like videos of this course. And so, but the plan is that on Sunday, the 20th, I'll go to the Bhaktivedanta Manor for the kirtan they have there in the evening. And so, not that I'm giving class, I don't think I'm giving any classes or anything, but I'll be there. So if you want to hang out, that's where I'll be.
I want to hang out. That's cool. That's sweet. Kaustubha's going to be around. He wants to hang out. So if you're Wisdom of Sages people, and there are a lot out there, go hang out with Kaustubha at the Sunday feast.
Wait, Akiko's in UK. She's going.
Did I say Kiko?
No, she just wrote
Akiko's,
on the message
she's
board.
on also on a red eye tonight. We're on different
She's
red eyes
coming.
going to London.
It says she's
Oh, wow.
coming.
All right.
Yeah, she's coming to London. Yeah. And so, any case, I would love to meet you all. And that seems like it's a place. If there's anything else is going to happen, I'll let you know. But as far as I know, although, you know, I also heard Satyananda Swami's coming to London. And
What's
God.
So
All right,
anyway,
let's make these
I'll be seeing
announcements.
him there at some point. So maybe I'll be attending some other programs too. If so, I'll try to let you all know.
It's getting magic. It's all magic.
All right. Well, with Kaustubha in London and us in Nepal, then
Is
we're
there a
going to do our best to do the show, but we're not sure what our internet connection is going to be like.
Right.
So bear with us.
Please bear with us, Zoomers especially. And we're going to try our best. Right now, we're hotspotting from Jen Hunt's phone. And we're going to do this tomorrow,
What
right?
time should they
Yeah, we're
tune
going to
in?
try. Same
At
time.
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
And if you're there, you're there. And if you're not, you're not. Is that the idea?
And if for some reason it's not working, we're going to just try our best. We're traveling constantly and we can't even make a plan, but we're going to try our best. So we'll see
Okay.
you tomorrow. But without a Kaustubha, right? With no
Well,
Kaustubha?
I mean, there's a chance that on some of these days I might be available, but it's likely I won't be until the 20th, which hopefully I'll be
All right, I'm
available
gonna-
on that day.
Let's put it out to everybody on Zoom, especially. We're going to be there. If for some reason we're not, or something doesn't happen, you still have to read the Bhagavatam for an hour. How about that?
Oh,
Any other?
okay.
How about you read the Krishna book or the 10th canto, and then we try again the next day? Okay, sound good?
There you go.
And
There-
apologies for any delayed uploading of the show while I'm in Nepal, but
Yes.
Oh, delayed uploads.
sorry, Kaustubha.
Delayed uploads.
Delay. When Kaustubha gets mad at Mara.
It's for the delayed uploads. Thousands of people wanting to hear the show. Mary, what you
Mary-
doing? Getting a haircut, getting what you
Miserly keeping the Bhagavatam from them.
Got a haircut.
Narayanam namaskrityanam chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established in the heart as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Milatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. You know what I love doing?
Hold on, I got a gift for you.
Ah.
On behalf of all the wisdom of the sage.
Ah, a squirrel, little squirrel. Where'd you get this?
I just
A
got
little
the market
squirrel
just now.
statue. Thank you.
Anyway,
All
right, this is-
continue on.
What do we call this one? A pre-reading squirrel? Last minute squirrel?
Last second squirrel.
Well, here's my thing. Whenever I do Narayanam Namaskritya, I love watching everybody on Zoom shift to religious mode. They all get, whoa. I like it. I'm not making fun of it, but everyone's got their own type of, some people are looking up, hands in the air. Some people are deep in prayer and meditation. Some people are, on an exercise bike, but for the most part, it's like very cool to witness. Everyone shift into getting deep.
Okay.
Where we at?
Oh, you just messed up the microphone.
Okay. Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 55.
One should worship the Lord by offering pure water, pure flower garlands, fruits, flowers, vegetables, which are available in the forest, or by collecting newly grown grasses, small buds of flowers, or even the skins of trees. And if possible, I guess that's cinnamon,
Maybe, I don't know exactly what.
Trees?
right? That's
Cinnamon.
Maybe, maybe
That
it's
is-
just some in the commentary. I'll take a look. Let's see.
And if possible, by offering tulsi leaves.
Yeah.
It says if possible.
Okay,
I thought
so
it was a must to offer tulsi by offering tulsi
Well-
leaves, which are very dear to the personality of Godhead.
what if you don't have Tulsi around? Then
You
still
got to
make
offer it
offerings.
with mantra.
So we're hearing, and these are instructions, guru to disciple, right? On the practice of yoga, specifically on the practice of bhakti yoga. Now, these are elements of bhakti yoga that Narada is blending into Dhruva's Ashtanga yoga practice, right?
Yeah.
So he began. He in the previous verse he gave him the mantra. Remember, Om Namo
Yes.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That's a mantra to Krishna, right?
Yeah.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It's a prayer to Krishna. And so he gave him that mantra, and then he told him to install a form of the Lord, right? Like that's called archana, right? Like in all the temples, there's a form that you can meditate on. So he told him to install a form, and now he's giving him the process by which it's a meditation, right? That all these things are being collected and offered. It's like using the external energy, like whatever the item. What do you think he made the deity out of, Raghunath?
Earth.
Yeah, I bet he made it out of earth, right? Like he made it of mud.
Yeah. I mean, you've probably seen a lot of earth deities around, right?
Earth deities.
I'm serious. I've seen a lot of earth deities. They make them out of mud and clay, and they're not. You don't keep them. They're I think you throw them in the river if they break or something.
Or these may have even been made in such a way where it's like you make it in the morning, and then when you're done with the worship, you return it, and then you install it again the next day. Could be like that, right?
Interesting. Yes.
Everyone, it's just a way to focus. Remember that story in The Journey Home, Radhanath Swami's book, The Journey Home, where he first arrives in Vrendavan and he's on the bank of the Yamuna River. Yeah. And there was a sadhu there doing a certain type of worship. Do you remember what he was doing? No. In the sand, on the bank of the river.
I can't remember. Just tell me I sound stupider. Every time you ask me, you're sure you don't remember? It's in this book. You didn't read his book?
Think. Maybe you can pull it up, Raghunath. We'll wait.
I can't. I've got a blank slate. I'm not like you. I can't retain anything. I can't remember what I did this morning.
There was a sadhu that would write the name of Sri Radha in the sand, and then he would sit there during the day. He would offer flowers and worship and prayers, and he would meditate on that name of Radha. So like the name of Radha is not different from Radha, right? So, and at the end of the day, he would, cover it, kind of like rub it out so nobody steps on it, or, it's like, and then the next day he would write it again and worship it again. So it's a way of, people might say, well, God is inside us or God is everywhere. Yeah, but you need to focus.
Sure. What does that remind you of, Mara? What he just said, Radha wiping it out.
The Etch-a-Sketch thing we were talking about?
No, come on.
Etch-a-Sketch.
One more time. Give you one more chance. What does that remind you of? Anybody?
Now you're making me feel stupid.
Yeah, you're flipping it on Mara.
It reminds me, we just went to this incredible art school. Oh, she just said, okay, Joshua Budger got it. We went to this, and they make these elaborate mandalas out of, you ever make like a seagull in a cup? When I was little, we used to make like a seagull, a beach scene with sand, colored sand. No one did that. No one died. Okay, listen. They make a beautiful sand mandala, like a work of art.
Yeah.
And then they destroy it.
That's the Buddhist thing, right?
It's a Buddhist thing. And I tell you, the artwork there was amazing, but the sand one of colored sand was like breathtaking. If they had one preserved just to show us, and they show like
wipe it out.
They merge it all together. They sweep it all together and they throw it in the river. Like, this is your life. This is your life. It's beautiful, right? Look at our beauty. Look at our strength. Like, sometimes I look at a picture of myself when I was 22 or so. I was like, you're a beautiful kid. What the hell happens? What the hell happened to you, man? It's just like anyway, it's just like, and then it just everything falls apart. And then you swept into the river. That's not
the next creation, right?
No one's unique to that. That's everybody. No one gets a pass from self-destruction. We self-destruct. It's just like this James Bond or movies or something like this. This message will just self-destruct in 4 seconds. It's like that. The body's doing that. And we're here just to wake up and remember what we forgot. It's already in there. I'm a pure spirit soul. I'm part of God. I just forgot. And instead of like remembering that, I'm like watching television. I'm going to the movies and furthering the illusion, furthering the forgetfulness. So a good friend, a good lover, a good family is those people in your life that help you remember. And if you're a yoga teacher out there, that's your job for the student. You give them some health and well-being, right? But you assist them to remember who they are and where we're supposed to be going.
Well, that's what Narada's doing for Dhruva right now, right? And he's giving him a system of practice by which you can do it. And he's combining all different elements. And so he's saying once you've installed that form of Lord Vishnu, then the idea is you need to begin to open up the mind and the heart in a way where you daily, right? You cultivate an attitude. Our mind is full of all kind of attitudes, all kind of issues. We got all kind of issues up there, right? So this practice is... I do.
I certainly do.
Okay.
I got attitudes and issues.
Both. And so this is a way of cultivating the right attitude, like the attitude that opens you up to receive that transformation, that beautiful spiritual because you're acting externally. You see, deep down underneath, right? Deep down, if we get past the levels of the mind, we get down to the soul. This is what the soul's like. It's like, I love you. Let me offer this to you. Let me serve you. It's like no issues.
That's what the soul wants to do.
Yeah, that's what the soul actually wants
to give love. It's born to give love.
That's right. But our mind's all screwed up. So we're more like, we feel like we're born to block people and
collect
people and
protect,
take down,
defend the
suck
ego,
enjoyment out of different people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so
running around trying to embrace matter, hoping it gives us some deep joy.
That's right. And so this is a practice. In other words, specifically what's being described in the verse that we just read. It's a practice of cultivating what's inside, but you're doing it externally, and you're gauging the mind using material forms. Here he's talking about water. You go out, but you don't just get any water because you're offering to God. You make sure you get pure water, right? You get pure flower garlands and fruits.
Evian.
Hopefully you can even do better than that. Like he would go and get the Yamuna water. The water of the Yamuna. And different flowers. Skins of trees, I'm not sure about that one. Tulsi leaves, right?
Cinnamon, skins of trees.
I mean, maybe that's what he means. I'm not sure. Could be.
Offer cinnamon.
Yeah.
Name 2 holy rivers from Nepal, Kaustubha.
The Gandaki.
Squirrel me this.
The Gandaki.
Yep. Kala Gandaki. Yep.
I don't know. What's the other one?
Godavari.
The Godavari is way up there?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it comes down, though. But
okay.
Yes.
Raghunath, what is the prayer to bring the presence of the holy rivers?
You know it? Ganga cha Yamuna cha Godavari Saraswati Narmanda Sindhu Kavari Jalasmin Siddhadim Kuru.
Yeah.
Calling all the holy rivers. Truthfully, if you just call on the name of a river, it comes. So if you're drinking a glass of water and you just say, Ganga, 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 Ganga will enter the water.
Is that how it works?
Or Devi Sureshwari Bhagavati Ganga. Anything where you're calling Ganga Devi, she'll come, or all the holy rivers. So then when we chant that mantra that you asked me to chant, you're calling all the 7 rivers.
So like, for instance, like if you're doing your puja, but you don't have Yamuna water there, you don't have Ganga water there, then but you want to offer that, right? So in your mind, you pray, right? Dear Ganga, dear Jamuna, dear Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Kaveri, all these rivers, please come and enter this water so that I can offer it to Lord Vishnu, I can offer it to Lord Krishna. So it's all that right at it. It's like hospitality, right? It's like, a cultured person, when a guest comes in the house, they want to serve them. They're not like,
what can I get you? You want a glass of water? Please sit down.
Yeah. So it's like that. That's really, we're meant to have this very hospitable attitude. And
no one even does that anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Come around. They don't tell them to sit down. What would you like? Offer them a glass of water, people. Just a glass of water.
A little coffee cake, maybe.
Want a crumb cake? Want some crumb cake? Enterman's crumb cakes? A cup of coffee? You know the story about Radha Kund. I was doing this. I was putting on tilak and I was calling at Radha Kund, and I was like, wait a second, because sometimes when you put on tilak, you put water in your hand, and then you say that mantra to call the sacred water. But there already is the sacred waters. Can I tell a story quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
There was a bull.
Just break out your little squirrel as you tell this. Just pick up your squirrel.
Here's my squirrel. I've got my little squirrel statue, everybody.
Okay,
I'm gonna squirrel you a love story between Radha and Krishna. So Radha and Krishna, they tease each other. They like to tease, just like little kids like to tease each other when they fall in love. And adults do that too, I guess. Krishna, there was this bull, a demon that took the form of a bull, and Krishna had to kill it. It was called Aristasura. And so Radharani said, "Oh, Krishna, you killed a bull. Get away from me. None of our girlfriends want to hang out with you any longer." And Krishna's like, "What are you talking about? It wasn't a bull. It was a demon. It was a bull, and you killed a bull, and you're completely sinful. You know how sacred a bull is?" He goes,
We should
"You better
mention that
go."
that bull was a few moments earlier was terrifying her, right? It was like this massive, like destructive bull that was just going to wipe everybody out.
Yes, that bull was like making women have miscarriages, and everyone was fearing this bull.
So when
Krishna went and
killed it, like
protected
Radha should have
everybody.
been like, "Thank you for protecting us," but instead she came across with a little bit of
I mean, she was teasing. She was teasing.
yes, that's right.
So it was a little teasy, flirty, teasy thing. And so finally she said, "You want to stay with us, you have to bathe in all the holy rivers." And Krishna said, "You think that's a problem for me?" Krishna just went like this. He just snapped his fingers.
Boom.
And all the personified deities bathed. Or I'm sorry, appeared.
They all bathed.
They all bathed. No, all the personified rivers appeared. The Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Narmada, the Sindhu, Trishula. They all appeared there. And Krishna dug out a kund. And he said, "Do me a favor." And they all sat there with folded hands. "How can I serve you?" "Enter my kund." And they all entered that kund. And that's Shama Kund. And that is a very, very sacred place. All that you're like bathing in all the holy rivers. You don't even have to leave Vrendavan. It's right there.
Okay.
There you go. That's my squirrel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shall we read the next verse? It's continuing. The
Please.
instructions are continuing.
Please. I was really thinking about this time. We bathed in Shamakund. I was thinking, all the holy rivers are here. All of them. You know that feeling when you're bathing the Ganga? You're like, yeah, there is no safer place to be in the world than bathing in the Ganga. That's how I feel.
People go there to die.
People go there to die. I like when I'm underwater in the Ganga, I feel like I'm in the mother's womb. I kid you not. I feel like there is no room for Maya when I'm submerged in Ganga Jal. I just feel like safe and loved and protected. And the material world has all types of, as soon as I come up, I'm like, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. But when I'm submerged in that water, it feels so good. So I was feeling like that at Shamakund this year. I was like, oh my God, all the sacred rivers, all of them are embracing me. Text 56. It is possible to worship a form of the Lord made of physical elements such as earth, water, pulp.
Made like sandalwood pulp.
If you're juicing. Right. Carrot apple.
Sandalwood pulp.
Oh, okay. All right. Pulp, wood, and metal. In the forest, one can make a form with no more than earth and water and worship him according to the above principles. How do you do that? You make it look like Krishna?
Yeah.
Or is it just, how do you make, okay.
What do you mean?
I don't know. All right. How do you form it?
Unless you're very good, it's going to look a little crude, but that's not what
It's
really
gonna look
matters.
crude. Okay.
Yeah.
A devotee who has full control over his self should be very sober. I love that word because we usually just mean intoxicated, but sober when it comes to life and not
minded.
Yeah, not blown away and dragged away by the romance filter of the material world. And peaceful and must be set. I'm going to read that again. A devotee who has full control over his self should be very sober and peaceful and must be satisfied simply eating whatever fruits and vegetables are available in the forest.
Okay.
Forage your life. I love that.
Okay. No. Yeah.
That is the real wealth. That is real knowledge. If you know how to forage, you have real knowledge. I'm dead serious, right?
But
people lose it.
Yeah. But I think
supply chain.
But I think this isn't meant to just like Krishna isn't giving him some survival methods or anything like that. You know, like what do you call that when you're afraid the whole world's going to end?
Survivalism. That's not what Krishna's pointing out here.
No, the idea here is that he's giving him it's just like when a doctor, if you come to the doctor and they get a diagnosis of your disease, of what's wrong with you, and then they'll prescribe a medicine. But they don't only prescribe a medicine. You have to take the medicine, but you have to take the medicine, and then there are going to be certain lifestyle adjustments, maybe in diet. Maybe you need to get more rest. So the medicine alone, its effectiveness also is dependent on the other things that you do. And so here he's giving him a medicine in the sense of like he's giving him a particular meditation, right? He's giving him a meditation on the form of the Lord. He's been giving him a mantra, but he's also prescribing a lifestyle. He's saying, do this worship, but also live very simply. Be even-minded. When he says sober, right, that means even-minded. Like, oh, it's cloudy today, I'm depressed, or it's sunny today, everything's great. No, like when you're sober, it's like you're sunny or cloudy, I'm not getting rocked, right? Hot or cold, I'm sober. I'm not getting all elated over this and
I'm like
completely
that.
Upset over that. And
by the time November kicks in, I'm get depressed.
Okay.
It's just gray,
like
no
that.
leaves.
Yeah, but when you're doing your puja, you're transcending it, right?
I'm working on it.
Okay. And
Working
so,
on it.
So he's saying, be like that. Be sober and peaceful, and also live simply, right? Like don't get all caught up in investing energy and Dhruva could be well, you know what, I've been eating really simply, but if I worked a little, maybe if I got a job, I could make some money and eat more opulent. No, he's saying live simple. Don't even think that. You don't even need that. Just be satisfied with what comes simply. So it's an attitude, right? It's an attitude that's going to open him up for the potency of this meditation to sink in more deeply, because his mind will be more peaceful.
When you do this, when you fast. And if you've ever done a long-term fast, once you get food out of your mind, or I'll just eat whatever's like that. Once it's not like your priority, like what am I going to eat for lunch? What am I going to eat for dinner? What do we got in the fridge? What do we got downstairs? It's once you get that out of your mind, you can be very peaceful.
That's right.
I'm just going to eat whatever's around, or I'm not going to eat.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our time is occupied in thinking about what to eat, especially you.
What? Oh, because she's a cook.
You mean because I'm a chef, right?
Because you're
that's what I meant.
Is it because you're a witch? Is that what you're saying, Raghunath?
No, I mean because she cooks. It's her job.
Because she's a cook, right? Okay.
She doesn't eat that much or something.
It's kind of like this. It's like, think of it like this. This is I just kind of came up with this, but it's related to it's kind of similar to so many different analogies. But like imagine there's a Murti of Krishna, just like in the water just below where you're looking, right? Like say you're in a pool or something or a fountain or something like that, and there's a form of Krishna underneath there, but the water is like moving, and it's got like mud has been stirred up in it, right? So you can't really you can barely see that form, you can hardly see that form. But if the water can settle, if it stops moving, then the mud in that water is just going to start to go down, and then what's underneath you're going to see.
I'm liking this analogy.
You like this? Okay.
Krishna deity in the water and muddy water.
Oh, Krishna deity in muddy water.
No, that'd be old. This is a new one. I like this one. I like this. I'm going to borrow it.
It's yours, Raghunath. You could even say that you made it up if you want. It's cool with me.
I'm going to say I got it from you. I got my inspiration from you, my friend.
But so the idea here is, meditate on this mantra, meditate on this form, but settle your mind, right? And you can settle your mind through consciously trying to remain even-minded during ups and downs, and also your diet. Live simply. You don't need, you don't need to be endeavoring externally for things that aren't necessary. When I mentioned this pulp here, I don't believe I've ever seen a deity made of just pulp, but I've seen deities that are completely covered in pulp, right?
Okay. Yes.
You've seen that before? Like,
oh yeah. What's the festival?
Chandanyatra. I mean, there's a festival, Chandanyatra. But there are some places where like the deity is almost always covered in chandan, like that temple in Varkala, the Janardhan Swami temple. Usually the deity is covered in.
It's so hot.
But
so let's just explain what chandan is. It's when they have these flat stones and you take wood from the sandalwood tree, you add a little water and you grind the wood. And sometimes you add some camphor or some saffron, I think. What else you add?
Yeah, saffron.
And
You do that.
grind it and it becomes this like yellow pulp. And it keeps you put it on the deity to keep the deity cool when it's hot out. And then they take the prasad and people come to the altar. They put it on your forehead. And sometimes it gets so hot, like in the summer, they have a special Chandanyatra festival where they cover the deity head to toe. And all you see is the eyes. And if you don't know what's going on, you're like, what the heck? But it's such a beautiful festival. Krishna is just covered completely in this yellow paste.
You know, a moment that I'll always remember is I went once to I don't think you've ever been there, Raghunath, to the Guruvayor Temple in Kerala. It's in Kerala.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. It's a deity that they say was worshipped by Rukmini, Krishna's wife. It's a deity of Krishna, right? That temple, oh my God, Raghunath, you want to talk about a beautiful sattvic, it's like this ancient temple, and it's hard even to describe. Just like you're walking into another world,
time, another place,
another world, another planet, practically. The atmospheres they have like I think like 60 or 100 elephants or something that are all like temple elephants, and they care for them very well out in the forest. But some of those.
What do you do with 100 temple elephants?
I think it's 60 actually, but they do
What do you
parades.
do with 60 elephants?
You do parades for Krishna. It's like they bring Guruvayor, they bring Krishna out.
Oh yeah.
And there's always one elephant that's like the main elephant. There's one famous elephant, famous all over Kerala. His name was Keshav. And there's a whole story about how his whole life was devoted to the deity of Lord Vishnu.
Have you ever heard about the squirrel me this? Have you ever heard about the devotional crocodile in South India?
I have.
Is it a true story?
Yeah.
You've told us.
I've told this story. Okay. There's just for those here live, there's a devotional crocodile that every day comes up to have darshan of the deity and then goes back in the water. I kid you
There's
not.
a lot of stories like that in India. It's true. And so now this deity, this elephant, who passed away by natural causes, they took his tusks, and at the gate of the temple, you walk through those, like the arches of those tusks. It's really cool. But when you walk through you see, they cover the deity commonly there in this sandalwood pulp. And I always remember I went there, and as you're walking through the gate, you kind of go through this tight little area. It's like you're stepping indoors, and you're like in this tight little passage. And on your left, there's like a window that's open to a room. And this is the room where the priests are at.
Yeah.
And who do all their preparations, for their service, for their seva. And in there, I think it was 3, like you were describing, you take a stone and you rub a piece of wood on it. Yeah. Well, the stones, they had 3 stones in there, but these stones are massive, like bigger than like a hubcap, or like they're really big, like a
tire. Okay.
Like really
and big. They just grind in big
and
chunks.
Each one of them had a huge log of sandalwood.
A log of that's expensive sandalwood.
And each ones were all rubbing them at the same time, and the aroma coming out of that room was like celestial. It was like you
know what's incredible, Kaustubha, everybody here on Zoom and all the others out there and all the others out there, they are helping resurrect these ancient practices that otherwise will get sealed up and forgotten about. In the same way, in the same way the Native American cultures get sealed up. There's a few people out there kind of keep these things alive, these ancient, there's people from Mayan cultures or people still speaking Gaelic, but they're very few. I feel like everybody who's into this podcast are resurrecting these yoga culture, sandalwood paste. If it wasn't for, we're going to forget all this stuff otherwise. But it's not. There's a rebirth of Bhakti happening right now. We're in the midst of it. We're part of it. We're part of the wave. Hey, I've got a great squirrel. And it is a squirrel, but we were talking about going to the temple. Crocodile.
Does it have anything to do with sandalwood?
Not at all. But listen to me. Just hear it. It's a short one. It's a good one. Okay. I remember being a young monk, and every day this sadhu used to come to the temple in Calcutta with this like 2.5-year-old girl. It was so sweet. He was like an old sadhu, and he would hold the hand of this. When I say sadhu, he had a long white beard, and he looked like a sadhu. And he would hold this little 2.5-year-old girl's hand, And I was thinking, he must be like the grandfather, must bring his little girl. How beautiful. If I ever become a grandfather, I want to bring a little granddaughter to the temple. And every day the little girl was so happy and her hands would pray and they'd give her a garland. And in temples, when they get rid of the garlands, they don't throw them in the garbage. They put them in sacred trash and they throw that in the Ganges. So the little girl, she's a baby practically, just digging through the trash and putting on all these garlands on herself. I was thinking, what a nice grandfather. And so after a week of watching this, I asked one of the temple authorities there, I said, it's so nice. Or I was just saying, it's so nice how this grandfather brings this girl. They said, no. This girl is from a very, very wealthy family, and that's her servant. And every day the girl demands to come for darshan. And then she just goes through this whole thing about getting flower garlands. That's my story. That's a good story. Come on. That's a worthy squirrel.
You know what story now that we're on a squirrel, you know what that story reminds me of?
Tell me.
Do you know the story of Andal?
Andal?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Andal. You've been to I think this. Oh no, is this? You haven't been. You haven't been to Sri Rangam, have you?
I haven't been to Sri Rangam. It's on my bucket list, my spiritual bucket list. Hey, by the way, if you're listening on Zoom, write on the board if you have a spiritual bucket list of places you want to go. I'm curious. Go ahead, tell us the story.
So this is a very. Andal was one of the 12 Alvars. These ancient bhakti poets, right, that go way, way back in history. It's their writings that they even predate Ramanuja. It is over 1,000 years ago. But she's a legend especially in South India. Her poetry is very beautiful, and it's poetry of love for Krishna. And so when she was a little girl, her father was a priest in the temple in Sri Rangam, right? So they worship Lord Vishnu there, and it's nobody knows how far back in history that temple goes, right? Wow. I think they say the form of Lord Vishnu there was carved by the arrow of Ram himself.
Say what?
Yep. Yeah. I can't believe you've never been to Sri Rangam. You got to go, Raghunath. We got to go together.
I know. There's a couple here. You want to hear my spiritual bucket list of India?
Okay. Yeah.
Sri Rangam.
Okay.
Dwarka. Hampi.
Oh yeah.
You know what? It's not on my bucket list, Kurukshetra. I don't know. It's just not.
Come on, Raghunath. Put that in the bucket.
I'm just saying it's not. But
what about Naimisharanya? We got to go to Naimisharanya and Kurukshetra.
Those two places they're just not calling me. Not that they're not great, and
that's because there's some muddiness, Raghunath. You got to get a little bit more sober, and they're going to call out to you.
Perhaps. Okay. But Dwarka, come on. Hampi, come on.
Yeah, I almost went to.
And I want to go on that yatra that they do in Maharashtra. What's that called? Where they walk to go see Vital.
Oh. Yeah.
Jai Jai Vital, Shri Hari Vital, Paduranga Govinda. That Madhava's rock band show. Did I tell everybody I met the singer of the Madhava's?
Again.
Did I tell that yet?
Again, you have. Yes, Raghunath. Many times. Yes.
Oh, it was such a. I tell you, we were walking. It was just. It was like a commercial.
No.
It was like a commercial for a diamond ring. I was walking down the Vrendavan alley, and he was walking down. We looked at each other in the eye, and then I went down and touched his feet, and he said, "No." And then we embraced, and I just said, "Keep doing what you're doing." And then we left, and a tear dropped from my eye. It was a special day, Kaustubha.
I'm sure it does, and you can tell us about this every day from here on out.
I just forget who I tell and who I don't.
But I was talking about this great saint in the Bhakti tradition, Andal, right? So her father was a priest in the temple in Sri Rangam, and one day every day she used to, because she had access to like the inner chambers at the temple and all that, where they're making the garlands and all that.
Inner chambers.
Yes. Yes, right, not the inner chambers. And so she used to go and she used to put on the garland that's meant to be offered to the Lord in the temple before it was offered. Not after, like this girl in Calcutta, but before, right? And she used to look at herself in the mirror wearing it. And her father found her doing that. Now, you're not supposed to do that, right?
Nope.
Are you even listening?
Yes, I am, but there's a
Okay.
fly in my face.
Okay, you're not. In other words, everything's meant to be offered to the Lord first. So when her father found her doing that, don't do that. And now we have to make a whole new garland. Everything's meant to be offered to the Lord first. We can wear it after He's worn it, as His prasad, as His grace, as His mercy. But we don't offer Him anything that we've worn already.
Yep.
So then he had a dream, and Lord Raghunath, Lord Vishnu, appeared to him in that dream, and you know what he said, Raghunath?
What? I love
He
you.
said, and he said that your daughter, your little girl Andal, when she puts on that garland, she's putting it on thinking of me. In other words, she's not like other people thinking, I'm going to put it on so that I look
at me,
beautiful.
I look beautiful. I smell good now.
Yeah,
She's like thinking,
she's putting
Lord.
on like, because I am the Lord's, I want to decorate my body to offer it to the Lord. And he says, and so the Lord said to him in the dream, I prefer it when she wears the garland first. So don't stop her from doing that in the future.
Very sweet story, my
right?
friend.
Yeah. So that girl
All right,
was something like that. She just wanted to wear the garlands of the Lord. And she was probably decorating
Thank you
herself
for
the
that,
pleasure of the
Mr.
Lord.
Squirrel.
Okay. All right, next
Oh,
verse.
catch it, Kaustubha on the scroll. Right. It is possible to worship a form of the Lord made of physical elements such as earth, water, pulp.
We just did this one.
Can I just read that?
Yeah.
Mary usually scrolls me up, but now she didn't.
Sorry, I was
My
talking.
my dear Dhruva, besides worshiping the deity and chanting the mantra 3 times a day,
What's next?
you should meditate upon the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His different incarnations, as exhibited by His supreme will and His personal potencies. That's when we do Sweet Baby Krishna, or he'll hear these stories from the Puranas. These are the pastimes, the activities of the Lord, and they're not just fantastic stories with a good moral message. They themselves, the stories themselves, purify the consciousness.
Mm-hmm. They're pure. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you see what he's doing. He gave him nama. He gave him an Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya to regulate the name, right? Then he gave him rupa, the form to meditate on, in the form of, he said, make a deity and so on. And now he's giving lila. So nama, guna, rupa, lila. These are the 4 things, the objects of meditation in Bhakti Yoga. The name, nama. The guna means?
Guna?
Yeah.
Name?
Guna.
What does it mean, guna?
You're out there today. You're really...
Name, form, lila?
Yeah, qualities. The nama,
Qualities,
guna.
qualities
Yeah,
like
right.
the gunas. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so the name, the nama, the guna, so the name, the qualities, the rupa,
The rupa, the form,
the form, and the lila.
and the lila, the pastimes, the pleasure pastimes.
That's right. So this is how Bhakti Yoga is practiced. He instructed Dhruva to practice all these yogic exercises, this pranayama and so on, and asana and all that. The Ashtanga yoga exercises, which are exercises to help one meditate, focus, concentrate very deeply. But he's giving him bhakti, content to focus on, right? Bhakti meditations, to focus on. Okay.
All right. Moving on. Moving on, my friend. Isn't it weird? We are like in a hour and a 45-minute time difference than you. 10 hours and 45 minutes time difference.
Oh God,
from New
you're
York.
just squirreling like ridiculous.
Well, that's just practical information.
It's not obligatory to squirrel off.
One should follow in the footsteps of the previous devotees regarding how to worship the Supreme Lord with the prescribed paraphernalia, or one should offer worship within the heart by reciting the mantra to the personality of Godhead, who is non-different from the mantra. So I'm just saying that. So it's interesting. If you don't have the paraphernalia, you just go within your own heart and do it.
That's right. That's one important thing said here, right? Is that, in other words, ultimately what you're doing externally is to affect your internal meditation. So if you don't have the externals, you can still do it within, and it's just as good, right? Yeah.
We're offering incense. We're offering food. We're offering, I mean, sometimes I'm traveling. I can't offer food on my altar. So you know what I do, Kaustubha? I offer, and I just mentally picture
The food.
pakoras, sweet rice,
Okay.
lassi,
Mm-hmm.
chum chum. I have a
Chum
beautiful
chum.
offering of food, better than I could even find it.
Uh-huh.
And I put tulsi on each one of them. And then I imagine all my deities just eating that. That's my meditation. And
That's
I make
called-
it
what
very
do we call that?
elaborate.
Manasa
Mana-
puja.
Ooh, pretty
The
good.
marriage. Yeah. There. Manasa puja. Puja, worship being done in the mind. Now, Raghunath, there was a story of someone who did that. I believe it's maybe from the
Yes.
Vishnu or the Padma Purana.
No, it's from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I mean,
Well,
there's
but they're
all
quoting
over.
from the Puranas.
Oh, okay. Where he was making sweet rice in his mind for his
Who?
deity. And he was stirring it. I can't remember who it was.
Where was he sitting? You know that?
No.
He was sitting, I believe, on the bank of the Godavari River,
What?
if I remember
Who said
correctly.
that?
I think it was the Godavari River, right? Any case, he's sitting on the bank of the river, and he had nothing, right? He didn't have any. He's like out in the forest there, so he didn't have fancy stuff. Didn't have.
And
a
he wanted to make
cow.
something very delicious, and he had no ingredients. So he just cooked this incredible sweet rice. But when I say, like, for me, for me, when I'm making an offering, it's already cooked. I'm not making the
Okay.
pakora batter in my
Right.
mind. It's already cooked. It's hot off the griddle, or it's
Okay.
freshly made. It's tulsi leaf is added, but he was actually cooking it. Like, I'm going to stir it. I'm going to add the sugar. I'm going to add the camphor. I'm going to
taking his
add no
time with
camphor, cardamom. And he's taking his time. And then he went to taste it, touch it.
No, he wanted to make
To see
sure
if it was
that
hot.
he had finished cooking it, but he wanted to cool down a bit before he offered it. Right?
Right. And he burned himself.
He went to touch it.
In his mind, he burned himself, and it affected, in his mind, he touched it and burned himself, but it affected his outer body. And there's a lot of stories like this.
And then what happened? Garuda Govinda came down. Right?
What?
In other words, in his mind, he was doing this. He was cooking. He was preparing it. He was doing it all. And imagine how peaceful and sober that mind has to be, right? Because like he probably spent like an hour just like doing that, you know,
Right.
all that cooking and all of that. He was doing every step of it, and then he was like, okay, is it in his mind? He's thinking, is it cool enough to offer yet? And in his mind, he touched it with his finger. But it broke him out of his meditation, because when he looked at his real finger, it was burnt. And he was stunned. And then he looked up, and then Lord Vishnu came down on Garuda.
This is not just a story. This stuff is real. This has happened in many instances like this, where someone's
Look at Kylie Brown. She's just taking it all in. She's like, I believe this. I totally believe it. Right? I can see it.
this is stuff. It happens in their meditation, and it affects their external reality. There's a lot of stories like that.
Oh,
especially
by the
from
way, since we're talking about sweet rice, Raghunath,
Tell me.
this is a squirrel, but it's an important squirrel. Today's a holiday.
The
Got a lot of
Stuba is
squirrels
squirreling
today.
out. We're gonna have to give him the
I'm
squirrel
just
statue.
squirreling off of
You
Raghunath
take it.
squirrels.
For
Thank you.
ages, I know. There's squirrels
But this is a
everywhere
squirrel that we should have started with, actually.
Well, whenever you
Today-
squirrel, you got to say, "Squirrel me this." That's the new thing. for
Squirrel me this,
squirrels.
Raghunath. Today is the. Do you know what the holiday is today?
Codicy.
No, that was yesterday. Maybe
Today.
where you are. Yeah. Oh, you pulled out the wire.
Fuck.
So today is the disappearance day of a great, very important sadhu, teacher, guru,
Master.
acharya, master in our lineage. It's the disappearance day of Madhavendra Puri.
Ooh, very good. We were just at Madhavendra Puri's
Madhavendra.
sitting place where he would
Batak.
sit in meditation at Govinda Kund. We were just
Yeah.
there. And then we went to the place. Wait. We went to the place where he told he was sitting in meditation, and he was chanting, and he nodded off, and he had this dream that this beautiful child came to him, right? And he said, "Listen, I'm Lord Krishna, and I've been hidden. I've been hidden in the woods. Immediately go get machetes and save me." And so when he got out of his meditation, he's like, "This beautiful child came to me." And they cleared all these brush and not debris, but like brush and
Thick brush.
bramble, thick brush and bramble, and they found this deity. And he gave them instructions on how to worship this deity. And they brought this deity, all the villagers brought this deity on top of Govardhan Hill. And they had a special festival for him. And this is called the Gopal deity, also known as the Srinath deity. And the Srinath deity later came to Jatipur, where there's a temple of him, Jatipur. And then they brought him to Nathdwar. And so that's the famous Srinath deity. And so I think you were telling that story because in his meditation or in his,
well, no,
what were you talking
about? Everything's tying together now. Everything's tying together. This is a Christian miracle. Because, so what you're saying, just in case people didn't catch the significance of it, in his meditation, Krishna appeared to him. And he said, I'm in this bush over here, and I've been there for a long time. And I want, I want to reconnect here. Why don't you come and find me there, So then he woke up out of his meditation and just told the local people, like, this was like the kind of like, it was such thick pricker bushes and everything like that nobody ever had gone in there. And so he told the people there should be this deity of Krishna in there. And so they cleared it out and there he was, right?
By the way, if this sounds crazy, like, oh, he cleared away bushes and there was a deity, this is still happening all the time. Because I follow these Instagram accounts. And it's like, we were digging up. I kid you not. There was digging up this thing, and we found a massive Nandi. We found another massive Shiva temple. They're digging up deities everywhere.
Okay, so this deity. So what happened was now he's worshiping the deity of Krishna, but the deity again tells him, "Hey, I want something." What did he want? He said, "It's really hot here. I want sandalwood paste." Right. And so then Madhavendra Puri said, "Okay, I'm gonna go get him the best." And so he was walking to Orissa to get the best. That means he had to walk, like, how far is it from Vrendavan to Orissa?
It's super far.
It's like
to walk. It's your lifetime.
Like 2,000 miles or something. Like
yeah.
It's over 1,000 miles, I believe, or at least 1,000, something like 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
So he walked the whole way, but on the way he stopped in one temple. What temple was that, Raghunath?
Kirchor Gopinath.
That's right. The Ramuna. That's on my bucket list. I really want to go to that place.
You know what? Yeah, they make this special sweet rice for this deity. And the deity's famous because he's the Kir Kor.
Kir Kor?
Yeah, you've heard of Krishna Kor? There's a Kirchor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means he stole the sweet rice. Right?
Yeah.
Now, so this was another whole dream kind of thing that happened, right? Is that he was walking, he was meant to go further into Orissa to find the best sandalwood. But on the way, he stopped off and spent the night at this temple. But he was watching the offering in that temple, right? And he saw that temple had a reputation for producing a special kind of sweet rice, like their own special recipe, right? And he could tell, it looks like it's a really good offering. And for a moment, what did he think?
It's like, I want that. I want to try that.
Like, he's like, I wonder what that tastes like. It was probably great. And then he's said,
like, I'm creating a fence.
What have I done, right? I'm meditating. They're bringing out this offering, and I'm thinking, what if I could eat it before it's even offered to Krishna? He felt terrible about it. He's so pure in his devotion. He just felt terrible about it, and he just walked out of the temple. Then what happened that night, Raghunath?
The deity offered him.
Okay, there's a dream. The priest had a dream. The priest of the temple had a dream.
Yeah. You tell me. You tell it.
The priest of the temple went to sleep that night, and he had this dream where the deity of Gopinath, that's the deity of Krishna, he said, there is a person that was just here in the temple today named Madhavendra Puri. And this is what I want you to do. Behind me, you can look behind me in the temple, and behind me, I've stolen a little bit of kheer for him. I've set it aside for him. I want you to get it. I want you to run out and find him and give it to him. So the priest woke up and said, what? What was that? I better go check it out. So he immediately went to the temple, and he found that there was that kheer was right behind him. And so
this is all real. This happens all the time. Deities are doing magical things. I have a whole book on it, on magical things deities do. What's it called?
Miracles.
Experiences in Bhakti.
Yeah.
Experiences in Bhakti by O.B.L. Kapoor.
Oh yeah.
So good.
And so then the priest went running around the town, is there somebody named Madhavendra Puri? Madhavendra Puri, you know, Gopinath as a special gift for you, Madhavendra Puri. And he came and he gave him that sweet rice. Have you ever had that sweet rice before?
I've never been to Raimuna.
I've had it, although I've never been
Someone
there.
brought it for you?
Yeah, someone brought it to Mayapur. It's thick and it's brown. It's really delicious. But Madhavendra Puri is one of the most
Put that
important...
on your bucket list.
Put it on the bucket list. He's one of the most important figures in our lineage because he's the one that really introduced and I don't know if popularized is the right word, but like kind of like they say, he was the seed of Chaitanya's bhakti. Like, in other words, he really brought in the mood of the gopis and the mood of separation into this lineage, and they became important parts of the meditations in this lineage. So he was the Param Guru of Sri Chaitanya, the guru of the
grandfather guru.
Grandfather guru of Sri Chaitanya. And he's just seen with the highest respect and esteem. And, you know, on this day, have you ever done this, Raghunath? On this day in the town of Shantipur, where Advaita Acharya lived, who was also a disciple of Madhavendra Puri.
If he says what I think he's going to say, I'm going to lose my mind. What?
On this day, if you go to Shantipur and serve out khichdi to everyone, then you go back to Godhead.
Oh, that's not it.
Have you ever done
We've been
that?
talking about a chip rice festival we want to do at Super Soul Farm once a year. Chip rice and holy. Wouldn't that be cool? All right, that's a whole nother squirrel.
Okay. But I've done that before. I've distributed khichdi on this day. It's a beautiful event, and it's time to go.
I had something
We got
cool. I wanted
takeaways?
to talk about.
Oh,
I can't
go ahead,
remember.
say it. Whatever, you can say
I
it.
can't remember now.
Oh.
The Shantipur thing threw me off.
Why doesn't Mara give the takeaways and maybe it'll come to you?
Oh, I was going to say that we went to the place. There's a little temple where they found that deity. The Madhavendra Puris discovered that deity, and they chopped up the bushes and found it. There's a little temple there right now.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful deity there.
Yeah.
That
nice.
Pratibhu deity they call it, right? It's
No.
not the
Well,
original-
that's that's the Pratibhu temple. But there is a place that marks the spot where they actually found the temple.
That's what
now
I'm
that
talking
the Srinath Temple is a really cool temple, and they brought us into the.
That was cool.
It was one of Mara's highlights of the entire trip. They sat us right in front of this big, beautiful Pratibhu deity
That's what I'm talking about.
Srinathji. Yeah,
he's
I know,
so
but
beautiful.
that's-
Such a sweet face, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yes.
All right. Today's been a squirrel day. It's been wild squirrels.
You know what? They're wild squirrels, wonderful squirrels.
Wonderful squirrels, but wild, running, mad squirreling going on.
Mad squirrels. Okay, listen to all these takeaways we got, though. Despite the squirreldom.
Yeah. Assist others to remember their true nature.
Did we talk about
Nobody
I don't remember who said that. Who said that?
nobody escapes destruction.
No.
It's all a sand mandala that's about to blow away.
Ah.
Our minds screw us up from our innate desire to serve and love.
As my mom would say, you're all screwed up. She says that on a regular basis about different people. You're all screwed up.
Cultivate an attitude of being satisfied with what comes simply.
There you go. Attitude of gratitude.
You got to simplify that. These hashtag things have to be like hashtags. They can't be that long.
Let
Let
the
it be.
mud of the mind settle so you can see Krishna in the water.
We're mud of the mind from Poor Boy. No?
You don't need external paraphernalia. Offer the mantra within. The soul is meant to give love.
Yeah, that's a cup. That's a mug.
Foraging is real knowledge.
That could even be like a glass.
Glass, huh? And then Raghu met Madhava's rock band. In case anybody missed it.
again, that
In
could
case
be a
anybody
takeaway
missed
every
it.
day.
The singer. I tell you, if I met the girl, I would have cried. I would have cried if I met her. Nandarani.
I'm gonna miss you guys. You know, I'm gonna just sort of they're whisking me away.
Whisking him away on the red eye to the countryside. Where they feed you tea and crumpets.
With some scones.
Oh man, kachoris are my new love. I wonder if Krishna Drew knows how to make a good kachori.
Oh, come on. I've seen a photograph of her kachori. It looks awesome.
Oh really? I tell you, man. That's my new
Wait,
love.
you see a photograph of Krishna Drew?
You saw a photograph of Krishna Drew's Kachori?
Yeah, she. Mara's like, well, that's not good enough. No,
I
she
love
used
when
to.
Mara loses it.
she,
How could
she-
you?
Just by looking at it, I could tell how good it was.